Hello, everyone. Um, Welcome. We're just getting started here with our Digital Comms Support Hour, and we will let folks join. We're just a little bit early in case anyone decided to show up early. I didn't line up my music, which I normally do for the start of these, so I'll have to get on that real quick. We will let folks join. We're just a little bit early. How is the audio for everyone? Early. I didn't line up my music, which I normally do for the start of these, so I'll have to get on that real quick. Hello. Let folks join. We're just a little bit early. How is Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining. The service that we're using doesn't allow us to see who has joined just yet. So I'd love it if, as you're joining, you could just say hello and introduce yourself in the comments. That would be awesome. Hey, Evan. This is Chris here.
24 little hours. What the sun and the flowers.
Welcome to folks who might just be joining. We're going to get started here in just a little bit, but want to give folks a chance to join.
My yesterday was blue deep.
Hello. We're just asking as you join if you can say hello and introduce yourself in the comments. We can't see who's joining, so it's great to know who's here.
Since you said you were mine, Lord, what a difference a day makes. There's a rainbow before me.
Welcome. Thanks for joining. We will get started here in just a second.
Since that moment of bliss.
Hey, Harriet.
That thrilling kiss.
Thanks for being here. Glad to have you. So as people are joining, I'll just give a quick recap of, this is the first installation of, or first in a series of 6 events that we're planning to have, where we spend the first 20 minutes talking about a particular new skill that we want to share with folks. And then the last 40 minutes taking live, hey Alpa, taking live questions from folks about the challenges they might be having with their digital work, or in transitioning or starting something completely new that you haven't tried before. For us, this is a new sort of method of communicating with folks and providing support as well. Hey Inez, how's it going? We won't necessarily have all the answers, but we're gonna try very hard to hopefully be of support for you. So just again, welcome to the folks who are just joining. We're just getting started. Sharing that we are starting this is the first of 6. We'll do every Wednesday at 1 o'clock here on Facebook Live. You can see the full lineup of events that we have coming up by going to HoustonInAction.org/support hours. I will drop that into, actually, if Evan or Nelson could drop that into the chat, just so people have it, that would be awesome. Yeah, this first one, we're focusing on social media. We're just taking about 20 minutes at the front end to kind of, barely scratch the surface, of course. But then we've got 40 minutes to talk about anything that y'all want to talk about. The way that we're planning to do that is to, we are using a service called StreamYard to create the streaming event where we have multiple people participating. So we'll ask that during the first 20 minutes, if you share in the comments a particular challenge or a topic that you want to discuss or ask a question about, we will go through those and we'll invite you one by one to the StreamYard to join us in conversation via the camera so that we can talk through your particular issue. Hi, Sandra. And Evan will be sharing that link a little bit later so that we can do that. Again, this is a total experiment. We're learning as we go as well, and it may work, it may not, and we will work to improve based on what we learn. So again, thanks for being here, everybody. My name is Chris. I work on communications with Houston in Action, which is an organization that is made up of member organizations who are all brought together by a shared mission to build a culture, expand a culture of civic participation here for the Houston region and Harris County. And thank you for being here today. If you haven't already, please just drop a hello in your organization or whatever else you want to share in the comments. We can't see who's here right now, so we'd love to know. And thanks to those who've already said hello. Welcome again. Joining me today on the stream as well are Evan and Nelson, who are also part of the communications team with Houston in Action. Evan has expertise and experience in website development, data and data visualization, graphic design, and others as well. What's up, Alo? How's it going? And then Nelson has Sophie, hello. Sandra, hey, Miss Sandra, how are you? And then Nelson helps us on the video front, doing a variety of things related to setting up shoots, capturing video, editing video, making video social media friendly, and all kinds of things. And so I'm glad that they're here. They're here to help us through any questions that might come up, as well as as we learn. So I'll just go ahead and jump in. I'm hanging in there, doing all right. I hope the same for you, Miss Sandra. Yeah. So if you haven't already, go to HoustonInAction.org/support hours. Check out the full lineup of the 6 events that we have coming up, or this being the first of them. And also there's a link there to submit your idea for what our 5th event will be. I think that's in mid-May. We don't have a topic yet defined for that, so please do feel free to offer what you think we should cover in that event. The other 5 events we've got lined up next week on Wednesday at 1. We'll be tackling video setup questions. Nelson's going to lead us through that. Everything from like how to set up your home video setup to types of equipment that you might consider purchasing, how to do it with various budgets, and even getting into some of the options that you might have for editing software on your phone, editing video on your phone or on your computer. Yeah, looking forward to that one. Okay, I'm gonna jump in here. Already mentioned 20 minutes, I'm gonna talk about stuff, and then 40 minutes is meant for y'all to ask questions and for us to work through your issues. We're gonna figure out how to do the logistics of that in just a little bit. But for now, if you can use the comments, if you have a topic you want to cover in the last 40 minutes of the call, please just drop it in the comments, and the team here will kind of keep track of those. And then as it comes time to open the lines, I guess, we'll do that, and then we'll start getting into some conversation. We'll invite you into the video call so you can actually see, you'll be a part of the Facebook Live. Today we're focusing on social media. So one of the things that I think is often a question that we get is, where do I find content? What content am I using? Of course, here at Houston in Action, we're in the middle of the census campaign. And so as a result, a lot of our content is census oriented. And so I'm going to use those as examples. We're lucky to be an organization that's made up of members from across the region, across the state and country, who have been creating incredible content themselves. And so we've been trying to aggregate as much as we can by here at in a section of our website called Fresh Content. This is an ongoing effort, and we've only recently started. I'll show you where we have content from before we started this effort, but we've got, I'll give an example here of our fresh content. For those of you working through census with us, this is an excellent, I hope that you can use this resource. I need to share this screen, and I'm going to do that right now. Switch over here. There we go. So yeah, if you visit HoustonInAction.org/fresh content, you'll see some of the content that we've created here. This video that just mentions, and I think it's 6 different languages, maybe 5 different languages, the fact that the census is here. This one that reemphasizes in multiple languages, might be 6 again, that there is no citizenship question on the 2020 census. These are videos. We've also got some dank memes, as they say, here in the center column. And then also another video that just highlights, using some memes also, all of the languages that the census is in. And then we also have content from our partners here. If you're a census partner with us and your content is up here, please let me know. Danielle at Avenue has produced this series of videos about the census and why it's important in English and Spanish. The folks at Crecen have created these social media illustrations for social media use. You can easily download those here and use those to post to your social media. Yeah, so on and so forth. And then we're working also on adding a variety of toolkits, social media toolkits from various partners for you to be able to draw from and post as well. Right now, like I said, a lot of our work is focused on census, but that's changing. In the moment that we're in with COVID, a lot of our civic engagement work is we're mindful and aware of the fact that there are concerns about how elections will take place. And so, groups like TCRP, groups like the ACLU are creating content related to how we move forward with elections in this moment. So you'll begin to start seeing new types of content among our census content. So I just wanted to highlight this area for you. As a place for census content, and hop over. And then also beyond that, if you're looking for messaging, other things to post related to the census, we have an entire census toolkit. I will take us there as well. And you can see that there's a section here on the site. If you scroll down, you can go to filter by keyword. And sorry, the page isn't finished loading yet. There we go. Filtered by keyword. You've got a number of options here. You could look at just fact sheets. You could look at maps specifically. You could look at just messaging. One of the keywords that I find helpful when thinking about social media is the toolkit one, because it often references specifically things that are toolkits that are designed to help people post content. So you'll see that we have the social media posts from Crecen here. But then also we have some other toolkits. There's a FAQ sheet, as well as the Census Bureau, for instance, stuff from the Census Bureau. There's a community outreach toolkit. I clicked on that. Right now, we just have this weird glitch where you have to scroll down quite a bit to get to the link button, but working on that. You view the link here, it'll take you straight to the US Census Bureau and to their toolkit, where you can see all of the different pieces, or not all of them, this is actually just some of them. The information, did I just make this I picked the wrong example here, y'all. Sorry about that. This is not the toolkit I thought it was. Nevertheless, there is help for messaging here, and then some links to some other outreach materials. It's not actually social media friendly content. Sorry about that. But yeah, I just wanted to point out some of the places there that we have some content available for people working on census. So today, mostly I'm just gonna spend the next few minutes talking about Instagram and Facebook. The reason that I wanted to talk about this right now is because one of the key questions that we have to answer when considering what we're posting to social media is who is where, who's our audience, and how are we trying to reach them? Are we on the right platform in order to reach them? And so that's some of the data I wanted to share here. That was pulled from and I have a link later, but the Pew Research Center, I believe is its proper name, has pulled together some assets, some data rather, around the different platforms. So this is Facebook in particular. You can see that, and what I was shocked to find is that these statistics are actually meant to represent the whole of the population, and this is the United States. So people from the United States, 70. It is suggesting that 75% of people who identify as female use Facebook, which is just sort of mind blowing. But it's the research that the Pew Institute has done, and it was published this year. And then 63% of male, and you can see the males, people who identify as males. The age breakdowns as well. You can see that despite what I think most people think about people in their late teens, early 20s, a huge majority of them are on Facebook. It does make the distinction that being on Facebook doesn't necessarily mean you're active on Facebook. It does just suggest that you have an account. And so you can kind of see the target demographics for this. If you're trying to reach people 13 to 17, Facebook might not be the best place for that. But there are still 13 to 17-year-olds on Facebook. And then I also thought this was interesting too, is that seeing the locations that people live, as well as the income levels and the levels of education. I don't think there's anything shocking here, and they all kind of seem to be more or less around the same range. The data also notes that a lot when targeting younger groups for social media, that YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat have taken a bit of that traffic away. And then also that that Facebook leans more towards women than it does men. So this data is for Instagram in particular. So again, when you're thinking about which platform you want to use for what work you might be doing, this breakdown shows that about 43% of people who identify as female in the United States are on Facebook. Again, that also just sort of blows my mind. Sorry, on Instagram, that also sort of just blows my mind. You can see that a much larger percentage of people 13 to 29 are on Instagram, and then you can see that definitely it trends more to urban communities than it does rural communities, which may be helpful for some people's work. Yeah. So obviously time is always a factor. And this is actually something I'd love to hear from people who are on the call to when you think about how, what type of support make sense for you, or how you could do more when it comes to social media. We talked about content is sometimes a barrier. Finding that content, maybe not using the right tool, or thinking you're using the right tool, but in fact it's not reaching the people you want to reach. Or maybe it just comes down to the fact that like you don't actually have time, and like there's a need for just the time to actually do the posting, or to think through what you're going to do. I think that's a real concern, and that's a real problem that people have, especially in this entire new normal that we have. Time and capacity are major issues, and so that might be an opening question if we need to kind of prompt some conversation. But knowing what kind of social media support would be useful for folks in this moment. And then just some basic tips. I like to think that if you have good systems and good processes in place, that things become more manageable over time. Of course, that takes time to set up those systems and to set up those processes. So that's not always the easiest thing to do right away. But just a couple of tips here for managing your social media. One is keeping it manageable. It's oftentimes that we want to kind of do everything. We've seen this really cool campaign that somebody did, and just being realistic about what it is that you're able to accomplish in the amount of time that you have and with the resources you have can really take the weight off whenever it comes to something feeling completely overwhelming. Social media is one of those examples of like a little bit can go a long way. So much is left to chance, or to the moment, or to the algorithms that we don't know about. So volume isn't always the key to having a successful campaign. So keeping it manageable is a tip that I like to go by. In addition, like using a scheduler. So there are a number of schedulers out there. The one that Houston in Action uses, and Diaz in the chat, is called Sprout Social. That's really helpful for creating blocks of time for you to sit down and program out like a week's worth of post, or maybe the next few days. And it helps you to post across platforms if you manage multiple platforms. I'll just put the link to Sprout Social down here in the chat for folks that might be interested. It also the tools also provide you with some data back, so that you know how your posts are performing. It's not free. I think that there are some other free options out there outside of Sprout Social. Of course, they'll come with limitations, but if social media is something you're looking to invest in, considering a scheduler might be a good idea. Keeping a list is another thing. If you're like me and you're on and off of social media and you get a variety of emails throughout the day, having one place, one Google Doc, or one, in the case of Houston in Action, we use a Slack channel to really just like compile all of the things that need to be shared on social media, whether it be news, or it be events from people in your network, or other sorts of content that you want to make sure gets out there, and you want to save that list for later to sit down with you in front of your scheduler. That can be really helpful at times too. Making goals and setting parameters for yourself is always good as well. When thinking about those goals, it's not always, think outside of follows too. I think a lot of people will think of like the number of followers that you have, or the number of friends that you have, or fans rather, as the metric of success when it comes to social media. But really, as Facebook moves more and more toward not having you pay essentially for people to take interest in what you're doing, engagements are really where a lot of the value for your work comes back. And thinking about who is commenting or who has shared your post. And lots of times people will share posts without following a page, or can retweet retweet without necessarily following a page. And so follows really starts to kind of fall by the wayside when it comes to metrics for success. Be opportunistic. Ordinarily that has a negative connotation. I would say here, thinking about it, what's relevant in the moment and finding out how you are relevant in that moment. Some people are much better at this than others, but thinking about the news, thinking about trending topics, thinking about the last blunder on the last presidential debate, and how you chime in with your own authentic voice to respond to it. Are all ways in which you can be opportunistic and sort of seize a moment and maybe ride a little bit of a wave on social media that might exist as a result of that stuff. Then also checking your tone, understanding who your followers are on Facebook versus Instagram and versus Twitter. The way you talk to those different groups can be really important in whether or not you're successful. Twitter is not always a place for sort of like organizational sort of tone of voice. It tends to favor the people who are frequent commenters or frequent social commenters, or who have a snarky take or on top of the latest news. So thinking about each of those platforms can be really important to how successfully you're able to drive engagement. And then I already kind of mentioned this a little bit, but following your own lead, meaning being authentic and true to yourself and true to the values of your organization or even you as an individual is really going to help you when it comes to creating content for your social media. If it feels right and funny or feels right and authentic to you, chances are it's going to come across more authentically than it may if you are trying to fit yourself into someone else's sort of way of being or outlook. So, hey, Gloria, how's it going? That, I think, is it for me. Like I said, I have some tips for posting. Sorry. I'll leave these up on the screen so that you can read them. But there's some basic guidelines. These are probably totally subject to change at any moment as all the platforms begin to evolve and measure the way in which we interact with content and make changes based on that. But here are some of the tips of the day. Happy to now, let's turn over to the comments and see what folks have going on. What did we miss from this presentation? Or what's the stuff you want to talk about that's maybe not even related to social media or related to social media? We'll be keeping an eye out in the comments, but now's what we can open up for Q&A or just your challenges. And if you can just put the topic in the comments, then we can send you the link to the StreamYard and we can all talk on this video conference together. While people are collecting their thoughts on what they might want to talk about during the Q&A or challenges they want to stump us with, please, I do have a question. If when you think about social media, when you think about what you need in order to sort of be able to tackle social media in a meaningful way, what would you say? What kind of support? What would that support look like if you were wanting to up your social media game and to be more effective using social media for your work? Some of the things we talked about already was, is it a lack of content? Is it a lack of time? Is it really not knowing what to say? Is it really feeling like maybe you're screaming into a black hole and you don't know if your audience is listening? Or maybe it's the flip side. Maybe you have something that's been working incredibly well that you want to share, and we'd love for you to share that with us too. Any brave souls with first questions, comments? Evan has dropped the link into Sandra. It's the content. Yeah. Yeah, that's real. Is it kind of, would you say, and Sandra, if you want to join, yeah, how to put it into words. If you want to join me on the video here, you can follow that link that Evan just shared. I'll put it up. Well, I guess it doesn't. Yeah, that link in the comments. Happy to kind of talk some more about this, but I think you're right. Sometimes thinking about content is hard, especially, I think if you're an organization that has like events happening, once a week or every 2 weeks or so, it's easier to have that content because you've got photos, you've got people doing, taking action or speaking out, and in the absence of that, it makes it harder on a social media manager. So I think that's totally right. One of the things that we're fortunate here with Houston in Action is that we're able to create some of that content ourselves, and then we've also got Census. People working on Census, our partners, our members, and canvassers, and so that that provides for us a lot of opportunity to talk about things that are happening. But if you don't have that, then it makes it a little more difficult. So that's one where like I would recommend setting up a Google alert. If you can go to google.com/alerts, you can put in some keywords that are helpful, that you want Google to send you a regular email about. So maybe in the instance in your case, Miss Sandra, you might want to do a Google alert for creosote, and you want to share news for other communities, share other communities that might be experiencing the same type of problems with creosote that we're seeing right here in Fifth Ward. Google, setting up a Google alert is one way. Evan, Nelson, do you have other thoughts on ways that you can help kind of feed the content machine when you don't have action happening every week?
Yeah. So this is Nelson here.
Hey, Nelson.
One of the things that I've seen some agencies and organizations use is things like Buffer. So they're curation type of platforms that help you, I guess they deliver a lot of tailored content to you on the daily or weekly, right? So that's Buffer right there. Buffer.com was one that was popular, and I think there's a free way that you can try it out. There's also paid versions of this, but you pretty much let it know what industry or what topics that you're interested in, and it'll start feeding you those things. It'll feed you articles, it'll feed you videos, it'll feed you different content that some of the Buffer people put together. So that there's a lot of these different types of curation apps or curation software that you can subscribe to, and just let it know what you're interested in and what kind of content that you'd like to be fed, and you can use some of that. So not all of the content that you're putting out needs to be yours. Some of it can be other people's.
Cool. Thank you. And then Gloria, I saw your comment here. I think you're asking about sharing in Facebook groups. Like, how do you connect with other organizations like that may be doing similar work but in other states? Is that right? Cool. Well, while Gloria's, yeah, certainly, Miss Sandra. I hope that's helpful. Oh, there we go. Thea had a suggestion of joining Reddit communities also. Gloria, with your question, I know one of the things is, and this is like, it can get overwhelming, but one of the things that's been helpful with our census work has just been finding these, and Camila, I see you joined the StreamYard. I'll add you in here in a second. Has been finding the national organizations that are either convening people or are doing some of the coordinating work. So like for us, it was like the Leadership Council, census counts, states counts, and so much of this, a lot of it's connected to funding, and so like sometimes it was finding lists of organizations that are funded through a certain funder, and then going and just doing cold outreach to them and saying, hey, like I think we're doing similar work. Like, would you be interested in talking with me? That's how we met up with like Color of Change, Jennifer Edwards out of New York, who now is going to be helping to coordinate with us through some of the digital ad work as well. But yeah, it is really kind of piecemeal, but that's one way I've seen it. I haven't seen a lot of Facebook groups where people are connecting in this way. Yeah, CPD, exactly. Like I think that's a great example of how there's like, they've got to have tables and the listservs, so many listservs, the group emails that you can end up on. That's been really helpful also to learn about other people's work and to connect with them and learn from what they're going through in their own communities, and so on. I hope that's helpful. If you want to connect afterwards too, Gloria, I'm happy to talk more about this in case there's anything from my past work that might be helpful for you too. So Camila had reached out yesterday, and I invited her to bring her question to the group. So we were having conversation about video support and how we can be helpful for Camila's efforts in using video. So I'm adding. I'll add Camila here to jump in, and yeah, as you have more topics, please feel free to add them to the comments, and we'll keep going. We've got another 25 minutes, so thanks for these great questions. Hey, Camila.
Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Okay, thank you. So yes, we were talking and we were going over how I'm one of the partners in the census work with Houston in Action. I'm with Workers Defense Project, community organizer, and part of the tactics that we're using are very heavy on social media. So I was hoping, and I wanted to do it on my own. It was to do a video with different clips and like a collection of different clips. And I got my little sister to do it. She's 11 and she has Down syndrome. My mom recorded one and she had a whole bunch of other partners send her videos. I have some of my colleagues send me videos in English and in Spanish. So I just need to put them all together. I tried to do it through TikTok, but TikTok wasn't helping. So that's my struggle right now.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. It's like, I feel like also I just want to like give you so much credit too, because like I think people oftentimes think like getting like, let's just get some clips of people, and like, but like that's actually hard. Like you got to get people like, like it takes effort and a lot of energy to do that. So way to go. That's awesome. But for your question of like editing, like I honestly don't have an answer on the top of my head. I'm going to put Nelson on the spot here because I think he may, but Nelson, what do you think about Camila's challenge?
Yeah, so Camila, first I have a couple questions, right? So are you using your laptop or are you using your phone to receive these videos?
They send them to me to my phone.
Got it. So and then the next question would be, are you on Android or on an iPhone?
I got the videos on my personal phone, so that's an iPhone.
Got it. So some of them do have iMovie. So I'm not sure if you've checked to see if you have iMovie on your phone, because that's one of the really popular apps that you can use. And it's fairly simple to edit with that. Another one that you might want to check out is Adobe Clip. And if you have like Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Premiere, any of those, you should also be able to access Adobe Clip. So those two apps are very popular on the iPhone platform. and you can just open it up, start a new project, and start dropping in all of the videos, and it'll let you edit them, trim them down, put them together. So those are two apps that I do recommend for iPhone users.
Awesome. I checked on my phone if I have iMovie, and it said I do, but I think at some point I just disconnected the app because I never used it, and now I'm like struggling to get it back to work. So, but I can try to find the Adobe Clip thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we went ahead and dropped in the names over here on the comments, so you should be able to see it from there.
Awesome.
Yeah, those two are really popular to be able to use. And it is, like, I do want to echo Chris's sentiment. That's a great idea that you're doing, and a lot of people receive that kind of content really, really well. So
Thank
good
you.
job on that.
And so, so I'm not an iPhone user. So, do you think it's possible to reinstate your iMovie app, like through the App Store? Camila?
I don't, the thing is like okay, let me see if I can show you guys.
Yeah, because sometimes the problem is logging into your iTunes account, I believe, or your Apple ID.
Evan says that you can always re-download it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys see here, I looked for it on my phone, and then it comes up here and it says iMovie. It's the one with the start. That's the logo. So when I click on it, it doesn't pop up.
Okay, so if you push and hold on it and uninstall it, and then try to reinstall it, I think that's what Evan also alluded to. It may give you the newer version, or it may work out some of the bugs.
Okay.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah, Evan is saying the same thing happened.
Cool. Yeah. Do you want to try that out, Camila? We'll take another question, and then we'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hang tight. I'll just put you on mute. Cool. Oh, wow. Okay, sorry, Gloria, I'm reading your comment. That is God, I can't imagine. That would be cool. That would be really cool to see the first action. And I feel like it's like what used to be retro would be like a Super 8 film, but now it's just like it's a flip camera. So like I'm sure the video is gonna be like this big. Gosh, 2010. That was still, yeah, that's funny. Well, I'm wondering, like, I mean, maybe same question for Gloria, which is, and Gloria, if you want to join the video chat here, you can do that too. Does someone have the link handy to drop in the chat if Gloria wants to join? There we go, cool. So, yeah, I guess the questions would be the same, right, Nelson? Which would be like, where do you have these videos? You know, are they files on your computer? Are they files on your phone? And then kind of the same deal where like if you want to edit them on your phone, Adobe Clip or iMovie might be the options depending on what you have. But what about if she wants to edit them on her computer? What do you recommend?
Yeah, so same thing. If she's working on a Mac, then definitely iMovie. It's installed on every single Mac. You should be able to use that. If she's on the PC, Windows Movie Maker is available, and there's also a couple different links that, let me see if I can find the document where I made a list of some of these apps.
Yeah, thank you. And while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and point everybody over to where they can find those links too. So during this whole pivot to digital that we obviously all went through in response to not being able to have anything happen in real life. Houston Actions, folks, probably some of the folks on this call, some of the people in our network, some of our team back when we had an office, now wherever they live, pulled together all kinds of resources to make sure that we had a compilation of places for people to go to find support. And so I'm just going to link people here. But Nelson, if you have that, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, sure. So here's kind of like a long list right there. And I added the price of everything. So I think these are a little, let's say you want to step up your editing game. These are some of the options that you would have, like Adobe Premiere, which is a monthly paid membership, and that's a companion app for Adobe Clip on your phone. Then you also have Hit Film Express, which I hear is very quick and easy to use, as well as VSDC, and those are free. So Hit Film Express and VSDC are very popular right now, and if you want to edit on your laptop, then those two I would definitely check out.
Cool. And if you want to find this list that Nelson just shared, you can go to our website, go to our partner page or member. You can type in HoustonInAction.org/partners and scroll down to the collection of best practices and resources for COVID-19, which we'll be moving all this stuff to a different location soon because it's no longer just applicable to COVID-19. Frankly, it's relevant for a lot of things now. If you click there, it'll bring up this Google Doc. And then the Google Doc, there's two spots here: guidance for making and editing video for online platforms, with a couple of links here to apps and software, and then some tips that Nelson also put together. So yeah, please feel free to check that out. I will drop a link to it here. Cool. I see that Gloria has joined. Well, Gloria, we're going to add you to the stream. Hey, how's it going? Gloria, I don't think we can hear you, unless it's just me.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Okay. So yeah, like I've been at Top since the beginning, and I remember I was the one taking all the videos, and I had a little bitty flip camera, and like our first meetings with Jane Junkin, and then we had a bus tour that was supposed to be 2 hours with City Council, around the flooding, and so after Hurricane Ike, and so we had them for like 4 hours getting up because there was a lot of rain, and so there's stuff, it's just old stuff, and like we get new organizers, and every time I say, I've been here 10 years, and but people like remember what are we doing right now, and so I like to go way back when we got a clinic built in Pasadena where we did all this stuff, 2010, 2012, and they do have a USB, and I think a documentary like it's gonna be made, but I have a lot of pictures and stuff on an old flash and stuff, and wondering how do I access them, because even on my phone, like a lot of times you get a little video app. I just tried to do it with music, and it'll let you do like half of a song or something, and then it's like pay a premium and you get the update, And it's like I look at my bank account, I'm like, oh, $199, $299. Oh shit, what did I do? But it's just that kind of stuff. But it's something that I would like to do, like for myself, or like to share with the group. To when I talk about the story of self, or where I come from and stuff like that.
Yeah, got it. So if, let's say you have them on your computer and you do want to edit them on your phone, because I do think editing on the mobile device is pretty easy. It's pretty fast, right? So one of the things that I do is I use this. It's called WeTransfer.com. And I'm going to drop the link right now onto the Facebook, WeTransfer.com. And this lets you take any file on your computer or on your phone, and you can upload it and send it to yourself. It'll send it as a link in an email, right? Once you upload it, you email yourself that link that it generates for you, and then it'll let you download all of those things to your phone. Okay, so that's a great way for you to get whatever things are on your laptop or on a USB drive. Put the USB drive into your laptop, put it in a folder, and then you can upload those into WeTransfer.com, send yourself the link, download it on your phone, and you can start editing those with whatever app you want. So that's what I use, and it doesn't lose quality, because sometimes, let's say you have a video on your laptop and you want to email it to yourself. Sometimes it'll get compressed and it'll lose a lot of quality. So in order to keep the quality, use that. WeTransfer keeps the quality.
Transfer from there to my phone, because sometimes, like, so when I made a video and it was like almost 4 minutes, when I tried to send it to myself on my email, you've exceeded the amount or whatever. I had a lot of trouble, and I was able to finally get it through the iCloud, but then again, it's just like, my son made a video, it was 15 minutes on YouTube, when my mom passed away, her going away ceremony, and it was on YouTube for a long time, but now you can't download, you can't take it from there, he couldn't add it again, and it's just stuck there because it's long. And so it's the same thing. I've been having that issue too. Like, let's say you want to do a video on live, like the way we're doing it, you want to throw in a video, screen sharing, but if it doesn't, I mean, is there like an upgrade you have to pay more to have these to be able to do this on your laptop or on your phone?
So to like download it live?
Like if you're live, let's say if I want to download a video, if I get it from my phone and it's too long, I'm having trouble sending it to my email. Yeah. If it's on my email and I'm trying to get it to my phone and it's too long, it'll save it there. But kind of like, so if you're on live, I know how to do live on your phone, but if we're live here and you want to show a video like the way you do screen sharing, on Van or whatever, you want to screen share a video, or is there just a link to post the video? Like how could we do that? Like, let's say we're in an in-person meeting and we have a video to see. How would we do it? Like right here, would we just put it on the screen, or would it be a link to be sent that everybody watch?
So there's a couple different ways to do it. One way is you can use that same WeTransfer.com to upload the video and then download it wherever you're going live from, right?
Okay.
And then you'll screen share from there. And the great thing about WeTransfer.com is that you can send files up to 20 gigs.
Is that a free app, or how much does it cost?
That one's free.
Okay, good.
Okay, it's a free service. You can do a paid one, which gives you more things like branding, but you don't really need to do any of the branding things if you're just going to send yourself some files. Yeah. So I love it. It doesn't matter what size the files are. So if it's a 15-minute video, as long as it's under 20 gigs, you can send it without losing any quality.
Cool. Okay.
And that's free.
Cool. Thank you. So Camila, you were facing a challenge with putting together a video from videos on your phone, how to put them all together, and iMovie wasn't working for you. Any luck?
Yes. So I went to the App Store and I downloaded it. It said that I needed to have the latest version, like iOS 13, but I could download the previous one. But okay. I do have a Mac. I'm new at using Mac. I didn't even know. So this is very helpful. So I can do it on my Mac if my phone doesn't work. So yay. Thank y'all.
Nice. Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for bringing your challenge to us. And
thank y'all.
If it doesn't work out, we're going to do this again next week. So you can bring your next challenge.
Great.
Or just email me. We could do that too.
Okay, awesome. I will share the video once I have my masterpiece ready to go.
Yes, please do. And if you do have any other questions in the meantime, please email.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem.
Thank you, Nelson. Okay.
Gloria, also thank you for being here and for bringing your question. If you have any other questions, or if you're still working through it, like let us know. Let us know how it goes, and we'll we're happy to support. All right, we'll talk to you later. All right, so we've got about 7 minutes left. Who's still on the call? Or who's still in the Facebook Live? I don't even know if you're there. You're welcome, Camila. Thank you so much for bringing your challenge. yeah, who's still on the Facebook Live? If you're there, say hello. And oh, cool. Yeah, certainly, Gloria. Thank you for bringing your challenge too. Yeah, if you're still there, say hello. Let us know you're there. If you have a topic you want to discuss, let us know, and we can add you to the. You can join the StreamYard here that's shared on the screen. We'll drop the link in there as well. We've been talking a lot of video challenges right now, but if you have a different type of challenge, any type of challenge related to your digital communications work, or anything, maybe even successes that you've seen that you want to share. I know one of the things that is I think a special challenge that we face in the Houston region is that so much of our digital communications or communications work broadly is really meant to be is designed for a population that's the size of some states, right? And so we are often touted as one of the most diverse places in the country, and that also means that there's a lot of different ways that people communicate and a lot of different platforms, and we really have so little information about all of those things that is specific to our region and to our communities. And I know that that's something that with certain projects we've tried to kind of come to understand different groups better, but it's an ongoing challenge. I don't know if anybody else has seen this as a challenge in their own work, but love to hear that from you. We're also asking what is what are the challenges that you're facing when it comes to doing more social media or doing more effective social media in for your organization or for the work that you're doing. And if you were to get support and capacity added to your efforts, what would that look like? Do you need more content? Do you need more help actually doing some posting? Do you are you curious about whether or not you're using the right platform? What do those things look like? So yeah, if you're still on the Facebook Live and you have a question, please drop it in the chat. Let us know. Stump us if you dare. Would love to take on whatever other digital communication challenges you might have. We just have about 4 minutes left, so now's the time if you got them. Oh, Harriet with the LinkedIn question. You know what? LinkedIn is not a place that I have spent much time, but Nelson gave a big thumbs up. I know that a lot of people use it very effectively. I know it's evolved a long way since maybe when I was most interested in it. I don't know, Nelson, do you want to share some of what your experiences are with LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think it's highly untapped. It's one of the most untapped platforms, and some of the content that doesn't do as much on Facebook, you'd be surprised if you put some of that on LinkedIn, how much further it'll go. So it's a really good platform right now to be diving into, especially if everybody's online lately.
Yeah. How do you, as an organization, so I'm on there as an individual user, as an organization, is it that, people follow my organization, and does that have any consequence for how well a post might do? Or is it mostly about other people sharing your posts that are following your organization, and that kind of goes from there? I guess the simpler question is, does the size of your following matter as much there? Do you need to work on building an audience?
I mean, I'm a big fan of finding people in your network that are champions of your brand or your messaging, and then having them help drive your post. So let's say you're working with a collaborator in another organization, and they're very savvy and have a great network on LinkedIn, then do something with them, leverage something with them, maybe create a piece of content that they can share And I do want to say that individuals tend to do better than companies or brands, you know, faceless brands on LinkedIn. So I'm a proponent of that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that question, Harriet. We are, I think that's a great question to end on. You know, I wanted to also, even if it's only 2 minutes, end a little bit early. I know there's a lot of these types of events happening online, and so having time to transition to the next, if that's your circumstances, is important. And so I am going to practice what I preach. And thank you to everyone for the questions, and thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Evan, for your support. And look forward to next week. We'll have you next week at 1 o'clock on Facebook Live. We'll be here. We'll be talking about video, and we look forward to taking your questions and challenges then as well. Take care, everybody. Stay healthy, stay sane. Hope you're well and good. Talk to you later.